Hi, this is Chris Ignacio, and this is a songwriting workshop, part of a program that I designed called Co-Written, and also part of Jamaica Center for Arts and Learning's pop-up classes. I am a performer, puppeteer, musician. I've been performing in New York for 10 years. One of the things about me is that I like to approach music writing collaboratively. I can't just sit down and write a song by myself. I love being in a room with people and feeding off of everybody's ideas. So unfortunately, we can't do that anymore, but hopefully maybe we could collaborate remotely through these kinds of videos. So a few things before we start songwriting, which can be a daunting kind of a task. Something that we should do just sort of all the time is listen to a bunch of songs. Just listen to a ton of music all the time. And when you're listening to those songs, start noticing how they're composed a little bit more. Start paying more attention to the different sounds, the rhythms, the voicings, and the structures of the song. If it's a singer, notice what kind of choices they're making and how they're making it, as opposed to trying to replicate what they're doing. See if there's a way that you can make it your own. Make playlists, make playlists of songs and figure out what kind of vibe that you want to go for when you're writing your song. Like what kind of grooves, what kind of atmosphere that you want to sort of portray in your song. All of this helps inform who you are as an artist. It lets us all know like what kind of sounds you're hearing in your head and what that says about your identity. So all of this is to say, be honest with who you are and where you are and what you're all about. Authenticity. That's what we're going for. A little disclaimer. I base these songwriting workshops, mainly off of hip hop and R&B musical styles, because I like to consider music making as sort of a collage. I like layering pieces on top of each other. Much like in hip hop, you have different samples from different eras and things like that. So we might play around a little bit with that. We're going to talk about lyric writing briefly, but the main focus of these workshops is to just start creating without any judgment. There's several ways of writing songs, and there isn't a right or a wrong way. And I think one of the hardest things is to just develop a practice and to just start and keep with it and keep going. So for these workshops, we're going to just start with music first as opposed to lyrics first. I find that this is a faster way for me personally to work without judgment. And it leaves room for interesting lyrical ideas to come naturally. Also, another disclaimer, these workshops presuppose that anyone watching has some basic understanding of music and musical terms, like chorus, verse, rhythm, tempo, dynamic, beat. So I won't be giving detailed definitions of these, since these are easy terms to sort of look up. Another thing, for these workshops, I'm going to be using a very specific piece of equipment called a loop station. It's right over here. This one specifically is an RC505 loop station. It's pretty cool, but you do not need one of these fancy machines to make songs. All this does really is take something, a sound, and it just loops it. For example, I could do something like this. See, and it just loops it. So why don't we start by first thinking about what is good and what is bad in terms of songwriting. I want to remove these words from our vocabulary because we're all excellent music listeners and we can immediately tell what we think is bad and what we think is good. But I want to focus on why we think something is bad or good. What specifically about it makes it bad or good? And let's say instead of bad or good, but Let's try and find different words like exciting, sad, somber, or danceable, or emotional, or sexy, or angry. Let's describe the song as opposed to formulate opinions about it first. An excellent quote from a famous composer, Edgar Varese, is that music is organized sound. So if we just think of it as what we're doing is organizing sounds, I think it frees us up a little bit more to experiment. So where to start, right? This is like the dilemma that faces all artists all the time. So I like to not start with a completely blank page. I like to add on to something that is already in motion. Let's take what's around you right now. Are there any sounds that you can discern that are remotely interesting? Let's listen. I hear cars driving by, some dogs, birds. Cars make me think of who's driving the car, right? And I live in a neighborhood where people like to bump a lot of sort of hip hop and Latin music. And so I think about that, and those kind of beats come to my head, specifically, I think more of a trap beat. And also, I've been listening to Meg Thee Stallion and Beyonce Savage remix a lot. So I think that's in my head, and I might start from there today. So the first thing we got to do, right, is just let's make some sounds just for fun, just because this is going to be how we build a basic beat, right? Some basic beatboxing sounds. You have B, a T, and a K. Think of it maybe more of like a B with a P. All that is B, T, K, T, B, T, K, T. And if you have something, that you can add to like maybe distort that sound, try it. Let's see. What have we got here? We can do some
like robot sounds, maybe like.
I'm gonna use something called guitar to bass. So what that does is it automatically pitches my voice really, really far down. So let's start with the Savage beat, right? So if I listen to what Savage sounds like this.
Queen bee, want no smoke with me. Been turn this motherfucker up 800 degrees. My whole team eat chefs cause she's a treat.
Alright, pretty good. So now we're gonna add something on top of it, maybe like a hi-hat, right? So now we got 2 layers, right? We got a bass with a little kick, and then we got like a little hi-hat action. So it sounds like this. All right, that's decent for now. Remember, we're just building something, right? We can always add effects and stuff, and we can always distort it and make it all cool and stuff later, but this is just to get started with something, right? So what we did a little foundation. Bum, 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 bum. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and that's how I'm counting it in my head. We can also do other sounds, right? If we didn't like that sound, what do we got? We could do like crumpling paper. I don't know, that's kind of interesting. Wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. one more thing. So we got our little sort of like bass foundation. Let's go with that for now. Maybe I want to add some kind of a bass, right? Like a bass guitar or something like that. I'll keep using the guitar to bass sound. I think that sounds pretty good. Maybe we want to add some stuff on top of that, right? Maybe like some other voices. Let's see. The other thing is we can like speed up or slow down these things, right? Yeah. Hey, hey, hey. What you wanna do? Wanna be ballers, shot callers. All right. So all we've done so far is just build a basic foundation, right? We did like a bass drum, boom, 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 and we did a little hi-hat. We added a bass line to it.
That's pretty cool.
If you don't have a machine like this, you can also go into Garageband. That's the program that I'm using. And you can edit your voice. There's different ways you can play with the controls, and you can manipulate your voice and add reverb and things like that. So again, that's all in music production, which we're going to get to in a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of that. But again, this is just for getting started writing a song. So now I would say let's add a layer of some kind of a melody. Maybe I want to add, something else on top of it, like maybe some vocals. I'm going to try something. So something I like to do is I like to do a trumpet sound. Because that actually frees up like my ideas a little bit. If I'm just singing something, I sort of have like a bias to where I'm gonna go and what kind of choices I'm gonna make. But if I think of my voice as like an actual instrument, like a trumpet, it turns out that I make different choices. So I'm gonna try adding a trumpet on top of all this. Here we go. Cool. So that is that's something, you know. So let's see. What have I got now? I don't know what that is, but it's a start of something, right? And like what I'll go and do now is just listen to that over and over again and let that start to inform some kind of new ideas, right? Like for a second of that, I was thinking of like a bullfighter. So I was thinking about like horns, and I was thinking of the color red, and I was thinking of food and all those kinds of things. So, you know, maybe I'll take that and expand on that a little bit. So, again, to review, I would say listen to a lot of music. Start getting counting into your body. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh, 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 Get in touch with sort of who you are by figuring out what type of music you like to listen to. That's it. Use what you have around you right now, right? I happen to use this instrument, but you could literally take, I don't know, like a jar or some spoons or something, create a beat, just put it together, and mess with it later on, but have fun and experimenting with what's around you. Next week I want to talk a little bit more about lyric writing, but I would try to get a few of these sort of like basic foundations down: a beat, a bass line, and some kind of a melody, right? And you could record it on your phone, you could record it on Garageband. There's tons of different ways that you could record it, but just get the ideas down. Even if they're not all together all the time, just like have your phone and just be like, ooh, this is a good beat. Boom, 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 boom. And just record that and save it for later. Or if you have ideas for lyrics, just write those down really quickly and see if they still interest you in 30 minutes, or the next day. See if you hear things that keep repeating themselves, like notice sounds that keep repeating themselves, and see if there's something in them that you'd like to explore. And if you want to if you want to write some comments or something with some ideas maybe that you have, I'll try and incorporate them into the next video. And again, one more thought. We all have been brought up with music, whether we know it or not. Every single culture has music. So if you've never thought of yourself as a musician, you should start thinking of yourself as a musician. Just call yourself one. One day, just wake up and just be like, yeah, I'm a musician, and just go with it. So thank you for joining me. Next week, we're going to get more into lyric writing, like I said. Keep recording all of your ideas, and we're going to, over the next few workshops, we're going to put them all together and see what kinds of stuff we can collage on top of those to make them even more cooler and interesting. All right. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you next week.